All right, I've got my marshals. It's going to be Dennis on 1, Tim on 2, Jack on 3, Ryan on 4, Travis on 5. Next time around, drivers 50 lap B main, I will bump 2 today. After we get under the loop, drivers on the tongue. The loop is hot. Everybody's in. Seconds in, 44 to go. Travis Brown, 446 with a 6. Dennis, 467 with a 5. He's about a second, 2 minutes back. Ryan Isabel, caution off the 4. Track is clear. 5 Legends A main should be on standby. 39 to go, your leader, Travis Brown, 458 with a 2. Ryan Isabel in that number 2 spot, 464 with a 1, 10, 5300. Dennis, 42 with a 3. Jack, 485 with a 9. Fast lap of run 1 to Travis, 436 with a 3 on lap number 3. Ryan had 442 with a 9 on lap 4. Tim Geeson in that number 3 spot, 464 with a 8. He's about a second, 2/10 off of Ryan for that number 2 transfer spot. 32 laps to go. Your leader, Travis Brown, into 1, off of 2, down the front. Into 3. Under the loop, 524 with a 5. Ryan runs his last lap, 441 with 8. Caution in 2. $25 to go, halfway there. Travis Brown, 457 with a 5. Tim in that number 2 spot now, 486 with a 9. Now Ryan in that number 2 spot. Closest race on the track with that transfer spot right now. $20 to go. Brown, 455 with a 5. Isabel, 466 with a 3. Travis has got about a 5-second lead on the number 2 man. Tim, 468 with a 7. Closest race on the track with Ryan and Tim for that last transfer spot. With 17 to go. To go. Travis Brown, 476 with a 6. Isabel, 457 with a 7. Caution in 3 and 4. 10 to go. Just going to let Tim get back to that transfer spot. Still ain't counting, Travis. All right, let's put Tim on 1 and Ryan on 2.
Done. 4 laps left. 2 laps left.
3 to go, door for Dale. Tim, 481 with a 1. Ryan, 456 with a 3. Jack, 495 with an 8.
20 laps.
Everybody's done. Break it down, drivers. Tim's going to take that one, 50 to 405. Ryan, 50 to 406. Jack, 49 to 407. Tim and Ryan will bump to the A. All right, we got everybody checked in. If you will, Mr. Billy, pull around, heading into number 3, wherever you want to start at on the front straightaway there, going into 3. I'm going to have them line up behind you. Be Mr. Billy Mayo on 1, wherever you want to start at, Billy. There you go. Gonna be Dennis on 2, Bill Benedict on 3. You can get lined up behind Mr. Dennis over there, Bill. All right, it's gonna be Michael Starr on 4, Travis Brown on 5, Brad Cox on 6, Myers on 7, Sanders on 8, Dow on 9. All right, drivers. I do need another volunteer marshal if y'all don't mind to get down there with Mr. Sawyer or somebody, please, and thank you. Thank you, sir. All right, drivers. It's going to be a 75 lap main. I've got marshals. Be kind to each other. Marshals ready. Drivers ready on the tone. Spectacular. Everybody's in. Bill with a 4-0, Bill with a 3-2, Brad with a 2-7, Dennis with a 0-8, Myers with a 2-8, Clayton with a 5-7, Starr with a 7-7, Brown with a 2-1, Starr or Dow with a 3-0. 71 to go, Brad with a 1-8, Bill with a 3-2, Dennis with a 4-3, Billy with a 2-5, Myers with a 1-3, Brown with a 1-6, Dow with a 0-6, Bates with a 1-7, Starr with a 4-9, Brad with a 0-2, Bill with a 2-6, Dennis with a 1-2. Clayton with a breakout. Myers with a 2-3, Billy with a 5-2, Brown with a 0-5, Dow with a 2-0, Starr with a 4-8. 67 to go, Brad Cox is your leader. I got less than 2 seconds from 1st to 7th. 3 from 1st to 8th. 65 to go. Your leader, Brad Cox, you can't miss him. Bill with a breakout, caution in 3. That's going to put Travis to the number 2 spot. Billy with a breakout. 60 to go. Brad Cox. Brad with a 2-4. Brown with a 1-4. Dennis with a 1-8. Dow with a 2-5. Starr with a 1-7. Bill with a 2-2. Mayo with a 0-9. Clayton with a 2-6. Myers with a 2-3. Got about 4 seconds from 1st to 5th right now. Caution in 2. Your leader, Brad Cox. Going into 4-wheel drive. Going to be 50 to go this time around. Your leader, Travis Brown. Brown with a 1-7, Dennis with a 2-1. Caution in 2. Starr with a breakout. 47 to go, 46. Brown with a 2-1, Dennis with a 1-1, Dow with a 1-3, Billy with a 1-1, Sanders with a 3-1, Bill with a 1-1, Brad with a 5-6, Starr with a 1-3, Myers with a 2-7. Starr with a breakout, 43 to go, Brown with a 0-8, Dennis with a 0-8, Travis got about 8/10 on Dennis, we got about 2 seconds on Bauer. Brown with a 1-5, Dennis with a 1-7, Dow with a 1-6, Mayo with a 0-9, Sanders with a 1-3, Benedict with a 1-2, Brad with a 2-5, Myers with a 1-3, Starr with a 1-6, Baxter with a 0-5, Brown with a 1-8, Dennis with a 1-7, Dow with a 0-8, Mayo with a 0-5, Sanders with a 0-4, Bill with a 1-5, Brad with a 3-6, Myers with a 1-2, Starr with a 1-4. 38 to go. Less than 2 seconds from 1st to 3rd. Your leader, Travis Brown. Caution on the front stretch. Stay low on the front stretch. Straight. Caution in 3 and 4. Just a reminder, drivers, there is no use of reverse during the race. For whatever reason, sit there until the marshal gets to you. $31 to go. Brown with a 1-8, Dennis with a 2-1, Dow with a 1-6, Billy with a 1-4, Benedict with a 1-7, Sanders with a 6-4, Starr with a 2-0, Myers with a 0-5, Brad with a 0-9. 29 to go. Brown with a 1-5. Dennis with a 06. Dow with a 08. Billy with a 1-1. Benedict with a 2-3. Sanders with a 1-5. Star with a 1-9. Myers with a 1-7. Brad with a 1-3. I got a second and a half from first to third right now. Your leader hit it under the loop. Dennis on his donkey. Dow not far behind. 23 to go this time around. Brown with a 09, Dennis with a 1-7, Dow with a 08, Billy with a 1-0, Bill Benedict with a 1-1, Sanders with a 2-6, Star with a 2-7, Myers with a 4-9, Brad with a 1-6. Your leader, Travis Brown, in the black 3, hit it in the 3, off the 4. Brown with a 1-3, Dennis with a 09, Dow with a 1-2, Billy with a 2-0, Benedict with a 1-2, Sanders with a 2-6, Star with a 2-5, Myers with a 2-1, Brad Cox with a 5. 15 to go. Brown with a 3, Dennis with a 2-2, Dow with a 1-3, Billy with a 1-2, Bill Benedict with a 2-9, backs up with a 1-0, Sanders with a 3-0, Star with a 2-9, Myers with a 2-6, Brad with a 1-4. Caution off of 2, keep it low off of 2. Track is clear. Gonna be 10 to go this time around. Brown with a 1-4, Dennis with a 1-2, Dow with a 1-4, Mayo with a 1-9, Benedict with a 2-4, Star with a 1-9, Sanders with a 3-6, Myers with a 2-1, Cox with a 1-3. 8 to go, Brown with a 2-1, Dennis with a 1-3, Dow with a 1-4, Billy with a 6-0, Benedict with a 2-1, Star with a 2-8, Sanders with a 3-3, Cox with a 2. 6 to go, Brown with a 1-3, Dennis right there on him.
5 laps left. 4 laps left.
Gonna put Dennis up in the lead now.
3 laps left.
3 to go, Dewey for Dale, Dennis with a 1-1, Brown with a 3-9, Dow with a 1-2.
2 laps left.
That is your top 3.
Final lap.
Caution off of 4. Caution off of 4. I believe you lost your opinion, Dow. Caution off of 4. Stay high off of 4.
Michael Starbuck. Still going to be done. Steve on 40 done. All drivers are
Everybody's done. Break it down, drivers.
The race is completed.
All right, Dennis Isom going to take that one. 75 and a 633. Travis Brown, 4/10 back. Billy Mayo right there with him. That is your top 3. Grab your Legends cars, drivers. We're going to get some pictures. All right, I got my marshals. I got my drivers. It's going to be Mr. Brooks on 1. Roll them out, Brooks. Brooks on 1, Myers on 2, Sanders on 3, Isabel on 4, Brown on 5, Jennings on 6, Paul on 7, Jack on 8.
Cliff James.
Next time around, drivers,
Jack Latchless.
give yourselves a space, 75 lap minimum. On the tone, drivers. Who's is hot? Excellent start. Myers, 427 with a 7, backs it up with a 383. Brooks, 432 with a 5. Brown, 442 with a 1. Sanders, 446 with a 4. Isabel, 455 with a 8. Jennings, 452 with a 1. Paul, 455 with a 1. Jack, 472 with a 4. I got 2 seconds and, well, 3.5 from first to 8th. 67 to go. Brooks out front, 428 with a 3. And then Mr. Myers is juggling it out. Brooks, 426 with a 7. Myers, 433 with a 1. Brown, 445 with a 4. Isabel, 466 with a 5. Paul, 450 with a 7. Backs up with a 494. Clint, 476 with a 9. Clayton, 478 with a 5. Mr. Jack, 476 with a 5. Travis runs his fast lap, 438 with a 5 on lap number 7. Backs it up on lap 15. Now Myers to the top, 444 with a 1. I want to commend all my drivers for being so clean with each other. It's been a marked improvement from previous weeks, both car and truck. Was a bucket run. 51 down, will be 50 to go this time around for your leader, Mark Myers, 4-4 over to O. Into 3, off of 4, burn to loop. Caution off of 4. Track is clear. $44 to go, your leader, Kenneth Brooks, 438 with a O, Brown, 450 with a 3, Myers, 446 with a O. Got about 3.5 seconds from first to third. Sanders in that 4th spot, 443 with a 9, about 7 seconds off your leader. Paul, 451 with a 9, Isabel, 511 with a O, Clint, 474 with a 4. Right now, your leader, Travis Brown, 442 with a 1. Kenneth Brooks, 437 with a 0. $35 to go. 4-5 Panther Truck, you're up next. $28 to go. Brooks, 442 with an 8. Brown, 443 with a 9. Myers, 450 with a 7. That is your top 3. Closest race on the track. Caution off the board. Transponder's dragging Travis. It is currently. Caution at the loop. Caution off the board. $20 to go, your leader, Kenneth Brooks. 445 with an 8, Myers 448 with a 1. Brown 447 with a 4, Sanders 453 with a 4. About 3.5 seconds now from first to fifth, with 17 to go. Your leader, Kenneth Brooks. 441 with 8, Myers on his donkey. 449 with a 4, Brown 446 with a 9. Got about 2 seconds from first to third. $10 to go. Brooks, 441 with a 4, Myers, 450 with a 2, Brown, 457 with a 1. Paul, 459 with a 3, Clayton, 449 with a 9. That is your top 5. 5 to go. 3 to go, Dorf and Dale. Brooks, 443 with a 4, Myers, 438 with a 2. Less than half a second off on him. Closest race on the track.
Rear tires off.
Everybody's done. Break it down, drivers.
All drivers are finished.
All right, your winner, Kenneth Brooks, 75 with a 541. Mark Myers, 75 with a 542. Half a second back. Excellent race. Travis Brown rounds out your top 3. If you will grab your cars, drivers, we're going to get some pictures real quick. Brooks, Myers, and Brown. All right, I got my marshal headed out. Where you want to start at, Brother Dennis? All right, it'll be Dennis on 1, Dry on 2, Hutchins on 3, Mr. Tony on 4. 75 lap main. All right, driver's ready, marshal's ready on the tone. And away we go. 3 laps in, Kenny with a 6-7, drive with a 5-9, Tony with a 6-8, Dennis with a 6-3. Kenny with a 5-5, drive with a 5-7, Tony with a 6-8, Dennis with a 7-6. Kenny with a 6-2, drive with a 5-8, Tony with a 6-6, Dennis with a 6-6. Kenny with a 5-7, drive with a perfect lap, Tony with a 6-6, Dennis with a 6-6. Kenny with a 6-8, drive with a 5-2, Tony with a 6-0, Dennis with a 5-4. Kenny with a 6-9, drive with a 5-4, Tony with a 7-2, Dennis with a 7-0. Kenny with a 6-7, drive with a 6-9, Tony with a 6-0, Dennis with a 5-9. Got a second 2-10 from first to fourth. Kenny with a 6-3, drive with a 5-8, Dennis with a 5-3, Tony with a 8-2. Kenny with a 6-7, drive with a 6-9, Dennis with a 5-7, Tony with a 7-8. Kenny with a 6-5, drive with a 5-7, Dennis with a 5-2, Tony with a 9-8. Kenny with a 6-8, drive with a 6-5, Dennis with a 5-2, Tony with a 6-3. Kenny with a 6-2, drive with a 6-2, Dennis with a 5-4, Tony with a 7-2. 59 to go. Kenny with a 5-4, drive with a 5-7, Dennis with a 5-3, Tony with a 6-5. Kenny with a 5-8, drive with a 6-3, Dennis with a 6-4, Tony with a 7-6. Kenny with a 5-7, drive with a 5-6, Dennis with a 5-9, Tony with a 8-6. Kenny with a 6-2, drive with a 6-1, Dennis with a 5-7, Tony with a 8-0. Kenny with a 6-1, drive with a 5-5, Dennis with a 5-9, Tony with a 6-3. Kenny with a 6-2, drive with a 7-8, Dennis with a 5-4, Tony with a 6-5. Kenny with a 5-4, Dennis with a 5-3, drive with a 7-5, Tony with a 6-4. Kenny with a 5-0-3, Dennis with a 5-2, drive with a 5-7, Tony with a 8-4. Kenny with a 5-4, Dennis with a 5-6, drive with a 5-8, Tony with a 6-5. Kenny with a 5-5, Dennis with a 5-3, drive with a 6-1. Tony with a 8-5, Kenny with a 5-3, Dennis with a 5-5, drive with a 6-1. Tony with a 5-5, Kenny with a 6-3, Dennis with a 5-3, drive with a 6-6. Tony with a 7-0, Kenny with a 5-5, Dennis with a 5-5, drive with a 5-5. Tony with a 6-3, Kenny with a 5-7, Dennis with a 7-2, drive with a 5-1. Kenny with a perfect lap, Dennis with a 6-9, drive with a 6-8, Tony, Kenny with a breakout. Dennis with a 5-3, drive with a 5-4. Dennis with a 5-3, drive with a 5-0. Kenny with a 7-1, Tony with a 6-0. Dennis with a 5-8, drive with a 5-7. Kenny with a breakout. 40 to go, Dennis with a 5-3, drive with a 7-0, Tony with a 6-2. Dennis with a 6-0, drive with a 6-2, Tony with a 5-8. Kenny with a 6-9, Dennis with a 6-2, drive with a 5-5, Tony with a 6-2. Dennis with a breakout. Drive to the top, drive with a 5-3, Dennis with a 6-2. Drive with a 6-8, Dennis with a 5-5, Tony with a 7-2, Kenny with a 7-4. Drive with a 5-4, Dennis with a 5-4, Tony with a 7-2, Kenny with a 6-1. Drive with a 6-2, Dennis with a 5-0-7, Tony with a 6-0, Kenny with a 6-1. $30 to go. $25 to go, drive with a 6-2, Dennis with a 5-5, Tony with a 6-3, Kenny with a 7-0. Drive with a 6-7, Dennis with a 5-5, Tony with a 7-0, Kenny with a 6-3. Dennis with a 6-3, drive with a 5-9, Tony with a 6-6, Kenny with a 5-6, Dennis with a 5-8, drive with a 6-2, Kenny with a 5-7, Tony with a 5-3. Dennis with a 5-4, Kenny with a 6-6, Tony with a 6-4, Kenny with a 6-7. 20 to go, drive with a 6-5, we got about 3 10 on Dennis. Drive with a 7-3, Dennis with a 5-1, Tony with a 5-6, Kenny with a 6-7. Drive with a 5-7, Dennis with a 5-5, backs it up with a 5-2, Tony with a 6-0, Kenny with a 5-7, backs it up with a 7-4, drive with a 6-9, Dennis with a 5-1. Tony with a 7-0, Kenny with a 5-4. 14 to go, drive with a 6-6, Dennis with a 5-1, Tony with a 6-2, Kenny with a 6-2. Backs it up with a 6-5, drive with a 6-4, Dennis with a 5-2. Tony with a 5-6, Kenny with a 7-2. 10 laps to go, driver. Just a reminder, we are open tomorrow all day for practice. Open at 12 o'clock. Park in the back. Car show out front. Great food.
7 laps left.
All the way around, gonna be a good time for everybody.
6 laps left.
6 to go, driver with a 7.5, Dennis with a 6.7, Tony with a 4.1, Kenny with a 9.3.
4 laps left.
Driver with a 6.5, Dennis with a 5.4, Tony with a 7.4, Kenny with a 7.0.
3 laps left.
3 to go, duel for Dale, driver with a 7.0, Dennis with a 5.8, Tony with a 7.4, Kenny with a 5.3. Driver with a 6.4, Dennis with a 5.9, Tony with a 6.7, Kenny with a 5.6. Final lap, driver.
Fastest done. Dennis Tyson done. Kenny Hutchins done. All drivers are finished.
Everybody's done. Break them down, drivers. That would be dry. That sounded like a Kenneth Impact. All right, drivers will take that one. 75 with a 550. Dennis 75 with a 551. Tony Baldwin 75 with a 553. About 7 seconds back. All right, I got my drivers checked in. I got my marshals in place. Where you want to start at, Mr. Tony? All right, it'll be Mr. Tony on 1, Kenny Hussins on 2, Mr. Dennis Isom on 3. Marshals ready, drivers ready on the Tony. And away we go. Everybody's in. Tony with a 3-2, Kenny with a 2-6, Dennis with a 3-1. Tony with a 3-4, Kenny with a 2-3, Dennis with a 3-3. Tony with a 2-3, Kenny with a 3-7, Dennis with a 2-7. Tony with a 3-8, Kenny with a 3-0, Dennis with a 3-1. Tony with a 2-8, Kenny with a 3-1, Dennis with a 2-3. Tony with a 2-8, Kenny with a 2-6, Dennis with a 3-7. Tony with a 3-0, Kenny with a 3-0, Dennis with a 4-0. Tony with a 3-3, Kenny with a 3-5, Dennis with a 2-4. Tony with a 2-5, Kenny with a 2-7, Dennis with a 3-3. Tony with a 3-1, Kenny with a 3-8, Dennis with a 3-7. Tony with a 2-9, Kenny with a 3-5, Dennis with a 2-8. Tony with a 3-5, Kenny with a 2-5, Dennis with a 2-9. Tony with a 3-3, Kenny with a 4-3, Dennis with a 3-0. Tony with a 3-9, Kenny with a 2-3, Dennis with a 2-9. Tony with a 3-5, Kenny with a 2-6, Dennis with a 3-4. Tony with a 3-5, Kenny with a 5-1, Dennis with a 3-3. Tony with a 3-4, Kenny with a 2-8, Dennis with a 3-5. Tony with a 3-0, Kenny with a 2-8, Dennis with a 2-8. 55 to go, Tony with a 3-9, Dennis with a 3-0. Tony with a 2-2, Dennis with a 3-1, Kenny with a 3-5. Tony with a 3-5, Dennis with a 2-5, Kenny with a 2-9. Tony with a 5-6, Dennis with a 2-6, Kenny with a 2-6. Caution off a 4. Tony with a 5-1, Kenny with a 6-7, Dennis with a 3-2. Tony with a 3-8, Kenny with a 3-5. Dennis with a 3-1. Your leader, Tony's got about 3/10 on Kenny. Got about 3 on Dennis. 46 to go. Losi NASCAR A-Main should be on standby. $43 to go. Tony with a 3-6, Kenny with a 3-2, Dennis with a 3-1. Backs it up with a 3-2. Tony with a 4-5, Kenny with a 4-2, Dennis with a 3-2. Tony with a 4-0, Kenny with a 4-7, Dennis with a 3-5. Tony with a 4-8, Kenny with a 2-9, Dennis with a 2-8. Tony with a 3-0, Kenny with a 5-8, Dennis with a 2-6. Tony with a 3-2, Kenny with a 3-0, Dennis with a 2-6. 35 to go, Tony with a 3-1, Kenny with a 3-5, Dennis with a 3-0. Tony with a 2-8, Kenny with a 2-7, Dennis with a 3-2. Tony with a 2-8, Kenny with a 2-8, Dennis with a 2-8. Tony with a 3-0, Kenny with a 3-2, Dennis with a 2-7. Tony with a 3-9, Kenny with a 3-6, Dennis with a 2-8. Tony with a 3-3, Kenny with a 3-1, Dennis with a 3-4. Tony with a 3-6, Kenny with a 3-4, Dennis with a 3-1. 28 to go, Tony with a 2-9, Kenny with a 3-0, Dennis with a 2-8. Got about 2 1/10 from first to third right now. 25 to go. Tony with a 2-8, Kenny with a 3-3, Dennis with a 3-0. Tony with a 3-6, Kenny with a 3-7, Dennis with a 2-4. Tony with a 4-2, Kenny with a 5-0, Dennis with a 2-3. Tony with a 4-0, Kenny with a 3-9, Dennis with a 2-9. Tony with a 4-2, Kenny with a 3-3, Dennis with a 2-9. Tony with a 4-4, Kenny with a 3-6, Dennis with a 2-6. Tony with a 3-0, Kenny with a 3-1, Dennis with a 2-5. 18 to go, Tony with a 2-9, Kenny with a 2-9, Dennis with a 2-8. Tony with a 4-2, Kenny with a 3-9, Dennis with a 2-6. 15 to go, and it's going to get tied at the end. Tony with a 3-9, Kenny with a 3-3, Dennis with a 2-6. Less than a second from first to third. Dennis coming on strong. Kenny right there watching. Good save, Kenny.
Ten laps left.
10 to go.
9 laps left. 8 laps
Hey,
left.
man, it's tight racing sometimes.
7 laps left.
7 to go. Kenny with a 6-0, Dennis with a 2-4, Tony with a 3-8.
6 laps left.
Kenny with a 5-0-1, Dennis with a 2-4, Tony with a 3-4. I forgot we were in trucks, huh?
4 laps left.
Kenny with a 4-5, Dennis with a 2-2, Tony with a 2-1.
3 laps left.
3 to go. Doyle and Dale. Kenny with a 4-4, Dennis with a 2-5, Tony with a
2
4-5.
laps left.
Kenny with a 4-2, Dennis with a 2-2, Tony with a 3-8.
Final lap.
Kenny with a 4-2, Dennis with a 2-7, Tony with a 4-0.
10 matches done. Dennis Dyson done.
That was
All
close.
drivers are finished. Tony Baldwin.
Everybody's done. Break it down, drivers. Kenny Hudson, 75 and a 531. 16,000 over Dennis. Dennis, 75, 531 with 8. Tony, 75, 533 with a 2. Grab your cars, driver. I want to call the lineup. I want to remind my drivers real quick, there is 10 of you, 75 lap main. There is no use of reverse whatsoever for any reason. Unfortunately, if you have to be marshaled, do not use reverse. Sit there till the marshal gets you. If I see the use of reverse, I'm just going to delete you from the race. There is no warning. I don't care who you are. No use of reverse during the main, period. All right, drivers. It's going to be Brad Cox on 1, Clint Jennings on 2, Clayton Sanders on 3, Paul Ashby on 4, Frankie Everhart on 5, Bill Benedict on 6, Sawyer Everhart on 7, Billy Mayo on 8, Tim Geeson on 9, Brian Isabel on 10. This time around, drivers, I like you got there. On the tone, be kind. 75 lap main. Caution in 1 and 2. Caution in the loop. Stay low in the loop. Stay low in the loop. Five laps down, you'll lose. Clayton Sanders, 467 with a 5. Brad Cox, 443 with a 9. Frankie Everhart, 472 with a 7. I got less than 2 seconds from first to sixth. Caution in 3 and 4. 63 to go, you'll lose. Clayton Sanders. Caution in the loop. Stay low in the loop. Keep it low, keep it low. Caution in 1 and 2. Stay low in 1 and 2. $60 to go, your leader, Clayton Sanders, 456 with a 2. Paul Ashby, 463 with a 6. Sanders, 440 with Frankie Everhart, 440 with a 2. That is your top 3. Got about 3 seconds from first to third right now with 56 to go. Caution in 1 and 2. Caution in 3 and 4. Stay low at the loop. Track is clear. Caution on the front stretch. Caution in 1. Track is clear. Caution off of 4. 51 to go. Make that 50. Paul Ashby, 485 with a 9. He's got about a quarter second on Clayton now. 470 with a 9. Brad Cox in third. 443 with a 4. Your closest race on the track. Frankie Ed Sawyer in 4 and 5. Clint, Ryan, Billy, Tim, and Bill. Rounds out your field. Caution on the front stretch. Stay low on the front stretch. Stay low by the stand. Caution in 1. .41 to go. Sanders out front. 436 with a 2. He's got about a second on Paul now. 454 with a 6. Brad Cox runs his fast lap. 439 with a 1. He's about 2 seconds off your leader. Fast lap of the run going to Clayton. 431 with a 6. Back on lap 12. 37 to go. Your leader, Sanders, into 3, off of 4, under the loop, into 1, off of 2. Into 3, caution off of 4, track is clear. Sanders, 442 with a 0. Paul, 449 with a 7. Brad Cox. In that number 3 spot. 447 with a 0. Caution off of 4. Caution in 1. Keep it low in 1. Caution in 4.
Making it work.
Caution in 4. Keep it low off of 4. 25 to go this time around. Clayton Sanders, 444 with a 9. Caution off of 4. Keep it high off of 4. 22 to go. Sanders, 449 with a 5. Got about a 4-second lead on Paul now. 458 with a 3. Brad Cox in that number 3 spot. 451 with a 4. Frankie and Clint round out your top 5. Sawyer, Ryan, Benedict, Mayo, and Tim round out the 10. $17 to go. Caution off of 2. Keep it low off of 2. $13 to go. Sanders, 438 with a 5. Cox, 452 with a 4. Paul, 452 with a 2. Frankie, 467 with a 8. Plant, 462 with a 1. That is your top 5. 10 to go. Closest race on the track is that race in the number 2 and 3 spot, Paul and Brad. 8 to go. Sanders, 461 with a 4. Got a little over 9.5 seconds on the number 2 man.
5 laps left. 4 laps left. 3 laps left.
3 to go. Duel from Dale. Sanders, 460 with a 2. Cox, 463 with a 1. Ashby, 451 with a 5. That is your top 3. Final lap, drivers. Everybody's done. Back it down, drivers. Excellent race. Excellent race. I want to commend everyone. That is the first race he may not seen without the easy reverse the entire race. Thank you, drivers. Sanders, 75 with a 546. Cox, 73 to 547. Paul Ashby in the number 3 spot. If you will grab your cars, drivers, we can get some pictures real quick. Losi Sprints will be up next. All right, we got Mr. Jack in there. All right, drivers. It's going to be Mr. Donnie on 1, Paul on 2, Mr. Jack on 3, and Dennis on 4. Roll them out, Donnie. We will go green next time around, drivers. It's my favorite class in the building, on the tongue. And away we go, 75 laps. Beautiful.
See, now you want to bring this back out, don't you? Yeah.
All the humanity.
They don't run carpet. It's just the dirt. Yeah, and that's tough. Yeah.
Caution off the 4.
I've actually doing them on the carpet and out in the dirt. And take the things off, I'm doing them on the carpet. I ain't got to put them up in the
That's true.
Your leader, Donnie Burris, 65 to go, 454 with a 5. Fast lap of the run, 438 with a 1, Mr. Donnie. Jack in second, 48 with a 5. Paul, 455 with a 8. Dennis, 454 with a 7.
My dirt set up because I got the track record right now.
62 to go. Again, we want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It's been an awesome night of racing. Tomorrow we do have our car show out front. Dennis, 431 with a 2. That's his fast lap of the run. We will be open all day for practice tomorrow, starting at 12 o'clock. But if you come for practice, you do need to park in the back. The front parking lot will be full, but we will have open practice indoors from 12 o'clock on.
$10 for practice. Yeah, I think if you go race, we ought to be able to practice for free.
55 to go.
Somebody got to pay the power bill.
There's an incentive. If you pay in advance to race next week,
Donnie, 440
I'll
over
let
4.
you practice it. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, hey, whatever it takes to entice you.
50 to go. Donnie, 440 over the 2. Paul.
$10 is $10.
Paul, 42 with a 5. Jack, 469 with a 7. Dennis, 493 with a 8. Donnie's fast lap, 436 with 4 on lap 11.
I thought about this if you change the gearing on it so you can stay in the throttle more.
45 to go.
Slow it down, but
Donnie, 434 with a 2.
because you're not in the
Paul,
throttle much
451
here.
with a 3. Dennis, 459 with a 5.
Pull the front wheel off the ground, you can't
Jack, 468 with a 8. Donnie runs fast lap on the 430 with a 5.
get much in the throttle.
Yeah.
41 to go. Caution off the 4. Stay low on the 4.
And you chill.
38 to go. Donnie Burris, 443 with 8. Paul, 464 with a 6.
Something I hate about them, you can't touch how they wreck. That's what I worry about. Huh? That's what I worry about those real racing though. Yeah. Makes you race clean. It does, yeah.
32 to go. Donnie, 439 with a 6. Paul, 479 with a 8. Dennis, 474 with a 3. 30 to go.
There's another reverse thing. Is that a new rule?
That's one I had to put in.
Is it? I didn't like it. I've heard that before.
Well, you're not supposed to use reverse at all. We had guys just doing the mains and all, waiting on Marshall, they use reverse and they're back out front.
Gotcha.
And our thing is, one thing when you're out here practicing or whatever, you do the reverse and like during the heat and rain, unfortunately,
I'm good with it. That's the first I heard about it. I'd probably use it sometime or other. I didn't have it.
I used to ask nice, but now I just delete you from that race, and you can talk about it when you're on the shoot. I feel everybody.
Hey, that's what rules are made for.
Well, my thing is, whether you mean to or not, backing out in front of something, you ruin somebody's whole day backing out in front of them.
Yeah.
It ain't fair to them.
And maybe more than one person.
Oh, that's why I really crack down on it.
15 to go. Donnie Burris, 4300. That's his fast lap of the run on lap 60. Backs up, 442 with a 1. Paul, 466 with a 6. Dennis, 487 with a 3.
Back in the 80s, 90s, you didn't even have reverse in it, speed control.
Yeah.
Well, my thing, I'm trying to do it that way, and if it continues to be a problem, it'll be part of tech. Maybe you come to I'll pick your car after the race, if the plug ain't moving, you don't have your car, I'll not qualify you for it.
8 to go.
I just don't want to get that part because it's more tech.
Yeah. It takes up a lot of time to do tech.
My thing is, how you see do it on the track or whatever, it's just needs to hit that button and just to pull the bodies off everybody.
Yep.
Caution in 2. Track is
4 laps left.
Track is cool.
Cheater.
3 laps left.
3 to go, North and Dale, Donnie, 458 would have won.
That don't work.
neighbor. I
Oh, 417 would have had, 451 would have won.
I tried that route while ago. I didn't do that good.
Final lap, drivers.
On the right.
The middle.
All actually done.
Everybody's done.
We
Back it
raced in a
down,
local
drivers.
track 5 miles from our house.